Hi, welcome to Insights into Consciousness with Anna Olsen here on A1R Radio. I'm Anna Olsen, and I'm here every Thursday, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And today I am going to answer some more universal consciousness questions, which means that I'm going to answer some more questions that pertain to what is going on in the world right now. Right now, we know that we all have the pandemic that we are dealing with. We have lots of different things that we are all dealing with that is different than usual. I'm not going to take any calls today, but I will do that next week. Today, I'm going to go over basically what people want to know right now from Spirit. Last week, I covered a few things about why we were having the pandemic, what this is about, and what we can do to empower ourselves and to really use it for the highest and greater good. And because all of my work is with love and light and with the frequency of love and above, I am going to continue this show with that concept and the frequency of love and above. That said, today I do feel like there's the flip side of the higher self, which is the shadow self, and that is all the stuff that we stuff or the things that we hide from other people behind a mask in society, and it's the things that affect us the most deeply that we usually think of when we're in bed at night and nobody's around and it's dark and all of our subconscious thoughts and feelings come up. Now, when we do work with the shadow self, it's really processing old emotions that we need to make new, that we need to cleanse, that we need to let go of. When we do these goal setting and these basically like letting go of the old and bringing in the new, what we're doing is we're processing things from our shadow self, and we're making the old new, making the bad and the suffering good, and letting go. And unfortunately, we have to restart that process again, but that's part of life. It's the ebb and flow of life, and it's the ups and downs. Even the planets go through this, which is retrogrades of Mercury and other planets. We've had 5 planets in retrograde lately, all at different times. And with Mercury in retrograde, that's really brought up a lot of these old things. Now, this is almost over. We've had an eclipse, we have had Mercury in retrograde, we've had so many different things going on in the planets. At the same time, we have had a lot of these things going on our planet, in the world. And in addition, we are going through the same planetary pathway that the world, well, the Earth had affected in the 40s during World War II and during the Great Depression. So we are going to have to purge our old stuff, and that's what I believe we are doing right now. That's what the planet is doing. We're taking all of the old stuff that has been collectively brewing for a very long time, and we're going to release it now. And it's all a systematic way to make things new again, to renew, to refresh, to make things basically clean. It's like cleaning out the basement or cleaning out the attic, however you want to, whatever way you want to look at it, or however you want to look at it. It's cleaning out the subconscious stuff that we don't want to look at, and instead of putting our head in the sand, we have to let it come out and deal with it. That said, I am going to first of all focus on what is going to be the first question is, what is going to be the purging and the shadow self processing of our planet right now during all of these planetary retrogrades, the quarantine and the pandemic, and the economic issues that we're having right now, in addition to all of the race riots. What is it that's going to come from that? That's what we'd like to see is, okay, we're going through this processing. We all know that has to happen and it has to follow its course. However, what can help us when we're dealing with all of these difficult situations and processing all these different things and trying to turn off the media because it's becoming overwhelming, what we can do to make that a positive experience is to look at what that will bring us when it's done processing. So that's what I'm going to go into now about, well, okay, what do we have to look forward to? What good will come out of this? What good came out of World War II? Well, there was a lot of really positive movements for women, and I won't go too far into politics here because I I'm smart. I keep my mouth shut about that. But really, there were some really good things about women and women having a lot more freedom in our society to do the things that they want to do rather than what society would want to force them to do. And that really freed up our men too in the masculine energy, because then they were happier and they were more content because their women were happier. Their women were more their true selves. So they were able to also relax and become their true selves more. And this was really good processing for us in the 40s. Now, this time dispensation is going to be different because we're in the world date of 2020 and or the age, I guess the birth date. And so the first card that I'm getting is the Eight of Coins. I'm going to describe what this looks like. And for our viewers, I will just do a close-up really, really quickly. This is the Eight of Coins, and we see this balancing act with money. There's a man who is balancing coins. He's balancing these different coins in a very cool-looking, basically like a cube shape. He's putting it together in a 3D cube shape. So what he has is they look like sticks, sticks from a tree in between these coins to make a cube with the coins at each corner of the 3D cube. So he's carefully placing them together. Now, the way that I'm seeing this is that we are going to have to rebuild our economy, and that is something that everybody knows we've been needing to do for a very long time. Not only about like fixing the debts that we have in this country and in other countries, or the very dysfunctional way that money has been handled. We're going to have to be forced to really buckle down and just really get serious about money and how it's spent. And that not just pertains to the world and our countries and our governments, but it also pertains to each household. Many people have been careless for a long time with money. And when I say that, I don't mean that I think that people aren't smart enough about it for the most part right now. I think people have actually been improving the way they think about money. However, I think that it has been more important than family and more important than even self-care. People are working so hard and forgetting about their bodies and not thinking about what it would be like for their children if they're not around, or if their health is bad, or they can't run out and play with them, or go do, have energy or feel good around them. And I think that this is prioritizing all of that and really looking at the importance and how you can work your entire life and run yourself completely dry and what we have to show for it. All of the materialism in our lives goes to dust. It is something that should be prioritized as what it truly holds value for: survival and for service and showing love to other people. So when we help other people in their time of need, and the same way with our governments, when we're helping people in time of need and being generous, and that is one way, monetary means is one way to be generous and to show love to others and to provide for them, even for our families and our children. And the other thing is that it's going to need to be put into perspective in regards to family and what is truly important. We can't take money with us. We can take people with us, meaning our hearts are connected to others through the next life, through the veil. That is the only thing that we will ever be connected to in this world, opposed to the next world. Our bodies, our hearts, and our spirits will be the only thing that we will be able to take with us. So that's the first question. Second question is going to be, what can we do to basically prepare for this issue, this economic collapse, and what can we do to recover quickly from it? That would be the next question. The card that I'm getting for that is the Page of Swords. So I'm going to do a close-up of this. There's basically a young man with a sword in front of him. It's the Ace of Swords is one sword. He's wearing a blue shirt, kind of just standing there with the sword in front of him. The sword is more or less opaque, so you can see through it. It's transparent and opaque at the same time. It's really a beautiful deck. The Page of Swords, now, really what I'm seeing is a need to teach the younger generation how to manage their money and how to earn money and be responsible with money. I do not think that this last, well, okay, I can't say everybody, but I think that there has been a lot of misunderstandings about money, its importance, and how to teach the younger, like millennials, and maybe the next generation of the millennials, like really to teach them about money and how to earn money, how to work hard. We have a very prominent computer age right now that is, for the most part, really based on a lot of activity of sitting down and being on a computer or a screen or just watching, YouTube or whatever. And while that has its benefits and its wonderful parts about it, the other side of it is that our generation, this next generation, our children need to understand how to be very productive and make a lot of money and still be healthy physically. And that being healthy physically is also part of investing in ourselves financially. So if we have so many medical bills that we worked our whole life just to spend money on medical bills, what's the point? What did we do it for, to suffer? That's really, I think, the basic skill that we need to set into the younger generation, and being healthy physically, being healthy in our mental state. How are we taking care of our brains? How are we nourishing our bodies so that our brains work properly for the long haul, for the long term? This is coming up as well for the next generation. We need to really prepare the next generation and be more responsible as parents and grandparents to this next generation. We can't leave them in squalor. Basically, it's like Spirit is calling CPS on us and saying, come on, you guys, you need to really be more conscientious of this next generation and really prepare for their successes and for their, comforts and basic necessities being met. So the good thing that's going to come out of this, from what I'm seeing here from Spirit, is that we're going to be able to teach we're going to be forced to be responsible with our financial situation, and we are going to also enjoy teaching the next generation how to be financially responsible, how to be responsible on their own, how to be more independent. With the pandemic, many kids are having to be left home alone. A lot of kids are, at like the younger ages, they're going to have to be more responsible, similar to the way it was like with the latchkey kids, where, they were kind of having to be at home. And really, it's about going back to the basics and being self-sufficient, teaching self-sufficiency, how to fish, not handing somebody a fish, and really learning that no matter where you are in life, there's somewhere you can go to be self-sufficient and to provide for yourself and your family, and to find your skill set, take care of your health, and take care of your ability to provide for yourself and for others. And to also, this is coming up as well, is that it's also about teaching the responsibility of not having children unless you're ready, not creating more mouths to feed unless it can really be dealt with, unless it's something that emotionally, mentally, physically, financially can be sustained. So that is also, I think, something that is part of this that's coming up in the reading. Now, the next question that I'm getting is really interesting, because it's probably connected to this whole thing. There's something about relationships and marriage that's going to come out of this day and age. There's something that I'm feeling, and what's really interesting is, I think I said Ace of Swords with the other one. It was actually a Page of Swords, and now I pulled the Ace of Swords, which is really interesting. It's, again, a sword, a single sword. A Ace of Swords is just one sword. It's kind of opaque and translucent. It's a beautiful painting, basically, of a sword in this really cool design. There's these beautiful colors involved. And the Ace of Swords, what I'm getting here is that there's going to be a neutrality that's going to come up with relationships and marriage, and it's going to be directly tied to the economic status that we have right now, and that there's going to be less marriages, and there's going to be more families that are going to be coming up from marriageless unions. And I'm feeling that this is probably because somehow this will do better for the economy. Now, the first thing that's coming up from Spirit, that for an explanation, because I'm asking Spirit, what does this mean? I'm getting that there are going to be a lot of the people who have had children wanting to get benefits from, like, let's say, social services or maybe welfare or food stamps. And it's harder to do that in a marriage household, a household where there's a marriage, that when people are having a more difficult time economically in the home, when there's a disadvantage there, it's actually more beneficial financially, the way it's set up, to not have the marital relationship. Now, in addition, I'm also feeling like there is a change in the dating status in our country. Now, I haven't dated for over 18 years. I've been with my husband for over 18 years. So this is completely alien to me. I only know what I've heard. And that is that many people who are in the dating pool are extremely put off. They're either being used for money or used for their companionship for a very short amount of time and then being ghosted. They are being treated poorly. This is becoming kind of epidemic in the way that people are getting tired of being treated bad by that small percentage of the population that will do these things, and then they're putting up their guards and really approaching dating and the dating scene with a lot more caution and a lot of walls up and guards up, which is horribly unfortunate. And my heart goes out to anybody who's been dealing with this climate of shallowness, of heartlessness. I've spoken with a lot of people with broken hearts who did not understand this dynamic coming out of a marriage, or their spouse died and they began dating again and they were horribly hurt, brokenhearted. So what that does is it puts up guards around the heart, and it causes them to either not want to get into a relationship again, or they tend to put their guards up so much that they really can't get close to someone, and they don't really truly trust somebody. And then that other person will understand, they'll pick up on it, that they're not trusting. So this is an issue. I feel like there's going to be a whole new field of psychology. There's going to be a whole new arena for psychologists and therapists to dive into here, because we have this whole new thing. There's online everything. Marriages are falling apart left and right because people are cheating online. People are, it's so easy to cheat online. This is going to be a whole new study of relationships and a whole new study on people and the dynamic of dating, marriage, and divorce. I'm seeing, now this isn't something that I'm used to, so please understand this is something new for me, but I'm also seeing that there's going to be a lot of relationships that are not monogamous that are coming up from this, even more so than before. That there's going to be a lot of open relationships. There's going to be much more, I guess it could be more like poly or open, basically, and that's going to be more widely accepted. That's not something I like, but it looks like that's probably what's going to come up from this. And what is going to be born of that is, of course, a new wave of children who suffered these consequences from these relationship dynamics, who will then again put more emphasis on the importance of monogamous relationships, marriage, really being devoted to one person for the health of the children in the home. So I'm getting all these things. This looks like these are movements that are coming up. I'm really looking for like women's movements and things. And I think that we've already come pretty far with women's movements, which is good. But I do see some progression there. Race movements I'm seeing are still going to be challenged. And this is very difficult because the US is such a melting pot. We have so many different types of people, and it's so diverse, which is something I love about it. I've been born and raised in California, and it's one of the most, especially the cities, are just some of the most diverse populaces. And it's just incredible how people are basically just from all walks of life in this country now, widespread. So the next card that I'm getting is going to be the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands, I'm feeling like this is depicting our own personal power. Now, the Two of Wands, I'm going to do a close-up on this one too for the viewers who can see it. We have two wands in the hand, and we have basically two wands in one hand, and there's magic basically being made here. So when we have this Two of Wands, we're talking about double power for one person. I'm adding this to the relationship status that I just went over, and that is that one person will have to do the work of two. One person will have to get the skills of two. It'll be too much work for only one person. So we're looking at this dynamic of one parent per household type setting. It's almost like I'm feeling like many households with children will definitely have double the responsibility, and they're going to have to pick and choose what they prioritize to, really put their energy into when they're trying to pay the bills, when they're trying to get, all the food on the table, get the kids educated, and that's going to be really difficult. So the next question that's coming up is going to be about the presidency. So I see Trump in my mind right now, and it's just coming through. So I'm getting the fountain, and I'm getting the eternity sign. So, and it's inverted. I'm going to just do a close-up of this one. It's the fountain with the eternity sign. And this is just basically depicting lack of, past and future. And that when we have a fountain, it's basically depicting creation, and it's depicting an ongoing flow. So what I'm seeing here is that Trump is going to stay where he is. And that's what I'm feeling from this card. I feel like he's staying where he is. It's going to continue the way it is. That this was depicted long ago with the time frame, and that this is going to continue. So there's going to be, because of this, though, I do see that I'm getting the Eight of Swords. I'm going to do a close-up of this one. It doesn't look like a very positive card. If you look at it, it looks like a girl has kind of a hood on, kind of a dark, shadowy figure with a mask on, and there are 8 swords projecting from the neck area. I see this as a sort of being bound, and from actually having, these 8 swords being bound, and it coming from the throat chakra. So I even see that there's a quietness or a quieting of the free speech, or from a voice being heard. I'm seeing that there's going to be a whole populace of people that need help that aren't going to get it because of the politics. There's going to be a lot of suffering, financial hardship. This is the shadow side coming through, and it's just saying that we need to help our neighbors. We need to be aware. I'm really seeing single mothers here. I'm seeing young women here. That young women are going to be they're going to be attacked by this whole dynamic. They're not going to be helped by this dynamic, that this is going to be singling them out of where the benefits are, where the everything is. I used to be a single mother, so this is something that I personally understand, that there is a lot of leaving some of these women who are single mothers, who especially don't have a lot of home help or a lot of family help, like I was. They basically will be left out. Not everybody has grandma to help them. Not everybody has their family to pay for things for them. And these, I'm getting like young women and single mothers will be the ones to really watch out for, that we need to make sure that we don't forget. And these are also the group of people in our populace that really have a lot of pride. So young women want to be taken care of. They want to look, they don't want to look poor, struggling, having difficulties. They want to be poised. They want to be, these decorated citizens of our culture, like they're taught to be, and they want to look cared for. And if they aren't, they're not going to outwardly show it because of pride and because of a lot of cultural things that we instill in our youth and even our adults. So we need to watch out for these young women. We need to respect them. We need to make sure that our sons are taught to respect them, that they're not being taught to spit them up and throw them away, that they are very careful with their hearts, that they are being treated fairly, appropriately, and respectfully, and that they are even singled out as the focus of attention for helping, for making sure they're supported by our communities financially. And that's going to be very important for this next movement because I see that they're the next victims, unfortunately. And we know that we have a lot of minority young women in these situations. We're talking about Black, Hispanic women, and that is especially in this country. So we need to watch out for them and make sure that if we can't get the laws and everything passed right away, that we're watching for them in our community. We're asking them if they're okay. We're asking them, do you need anything? Point them in the right direction, guide them to churches, to whatever we can, because this is going to be the group that's going to get the worst. So, I feel like this government that we have, at least in the U.S. here, I can't speak for other countries at this very moment because I'm covering U.S., but we're going to have a lot of people who are going to be left out of new laws made and out of priorities that are going to be really directed at the wealthy. So I really think that we should watch out for this. We need to prepare for it. We need to prepare our children and our families and, places that we worship or just our communities, and really pay attention to these things. So if you would like to reach me, I would love to do a reading for you. If you have any questions, let me know. You can reach me at AnnaOlsenIntuitive.com, AnnaOlsenintuitive.com. It's at the bottom of the screen. I'm also on Facebook at Anna Olsen Intuitive. You can always reach me there, ask me any questions. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to do a reading for you. I do those on video. I do them over the phone. And as social distancing and safety allows, I will also do them in person. So give me a call, let me know, and as always, tune in next week on Thursdays, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time and 9:30 Eastern Standard Time for my show, Insights into Consciousness, here on A1R. You can also find me on all the podcasts, YouTube, and Apple, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. So if you'd like to go through this and listen again, it'll be there, and it'll also be on A1R's website and my page on Facebook as well. So you have a great night, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much for watching.